Although all of Jesus' disciples were men, women played a very significant role in the ministry of Jesus. Perhaps that is most apparent at the resurrection of Jesus and just shortly before that regarding his death. The Bible tells us all his disciples, of course, had run away, and that the women were at the tomb. The women were at the cross. In fact, the Bible tells us after they watched Nicodemus and Joseph prepare the body of Jesus for burial and place it inside that tomb and roll the stone in front, that they went and they bought spices to anoint the body of Jesus. They then returned to the tomb to do that very thing. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all tell us about this, but as we focus on John 20, John really focuses more on Mary Magdalene, because there are at least 3 other women who are named, and other women apparently who were there as well, yet we don't know their names. So there were several women involved in this. But in John 20, verse 1, we read, "Now on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb early, while it was still dark, and she saw that the stone had been taken away from the tomb." Mary is not by herself, but the account in John is sort of supplemental and only focusing on her on this particular occasion. But we know from Matthew 28 that an angel had already descended from heaven. There was an earthquake, and that this angel had rolled the stone away from the tomb door, and that's when the resurrection occurred. The women were, of course, totally unaware of this, but then as they come to the tomb and you put all the accounts together, we learn that the angels tell them exactly what had happened, and that they needed to go and tell Jesus' disciples that he had risen from the dead. Mary Magdalene, though, when we come back to our account in John 20, as you read the next couple of verses, apparently she ran off to tell Peter and John specifically before the angels told the other women about what had happened. And with these different women learning this, they go tell the disciples. Mary will eventually return and learn about Jesus' resurrection. But she's already told Peter and John that, the tomb is empty and they don't know what's happened. But now she will learn what has happened. It's kind of interesting when you begin to put it together that it's women who are doing this. Mary Magdalene, the other women, they're going and telling the disciples. They're the first witnesses of the resurrection. Mark 16 verse 9 tells us that Jesus is the first person that Mary Magdalene actually appears to, and we read that in John 20. It's very different from that first century culture that women were so significant and so important on this occasion, because women were usually not regarded as significant enough to testify in court, and yet they are the ones, through the hand of God, that are given the most significant message in the history of the world that the Savior had risen, and they're the first ones to tell anyone else about it.